Good morning everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we will be taking a look at this palette. This palette is the 5th generation Paul Rubens watercolor palette. I believe it's from the Youlan range. It is artist grade and it has 48 colours in it, and we shall be swatching them all. So be prepared for a long video. I will be opening this so that you can see the palette. I'll just move my sketchbook to one side for a second. And I'll show you what the palette looks like. Here it is. It comes in this protective cloth. I'm just going to tip it out of its box so that I can open it and show you the colours. Here are the colours that are included in the palette. Now these were all wrapped, but I unwrapped them obviously for the swatching. So these came wrapped, each individually wrapped with the name of the colour and with a pigment number on them. The only thing I will say about wrapping of these watercolors is that the writing is very, very small. So I needed a magnifying glass to actually see the numbers and the name. But my eyesight isn't very good. So yeah, that could just be me. But I just thought I'd mention it. So yeah, and I will be swatching them for you today in, of course, my swatching sketchbook, which I have here. I'll open this up so you can see the layout that I have prepared for this. The lighting isn't very good today, I'm afraid, because we have cloud. So it's not just we have cloud and then sun and cloud and sun. So it's not like stable light. If it was stable light, I could probably find somewhere in the studio where the light would be consistent. But alas, no, it is one of those days. It is one of those typical autumn days with white fluffy clouds going, you know, passing in front of the sun. So anyway, enough of that. I hope the lighting isn't too bad. That's what I just wanted to say. So I'll just set everything up here and we'll begin swatching in a little bit. I'm back and I'll begin swatching, beginning with titanium opaque white. I've drawn a black line to see how opaque this is, and as usual I'll be swatching in mass tone and then diluted so that we get a good idea of the colour. Okay. This is looking quite opaque, which is nice. Opaque whites in watercolour are good for having so that you can mix some pastels and also just to add some highlights if needed. Okay, that's a wash and not as opaque as obviously the mass tone. And the pigment number for this is PW6. The next colour is quite interesting because it's silver. It is a pearlescent colour. So we are going to try that out, though I don't know how well this is going to show up on paper, on white paper should I say. Okay, I'm going to move this a little bit. Yeah, that's better, so that we can see the colours a bit better. I have my jar of water in front of me, and in a wash, just yeah, not much to see there. There is a little bit of a sparkle. It's very neutral. It's almost like watery sparkles. But that probably is because I am applying it to white paper. Now next we have Naples Yellow, which is a mix of PW6, PY53 and PBR24. So this has nickel titanate yellow in it, if I'm not mistaken, and PW6. This is going to be opaque, and that is a very pretty Naples yellow. That is pretty. Let's dilute that. It's lovely. I do use Naples Yellow a lot, and I usually use the Winsor & Newton Naples Yellow. And this looks a lot like it, I have to say. I think the Winsor & Newton one is brighter, but this is comparable. I like that. Next we have Lemon Yellow, which is PY3, which is a Hansa Yellow light, I think. Let's try that in mass tone first. It's going to be bright. Whoa. Very nice consistency. Flows very well on the paper so far. And let's dilute that even more. Just removing a bit of colour. Very bright. I can imagine you can mix some really bright greens with that, and bright oranges. Next we have Cadmium Yellow Light, which is a cadmium pigment as well, PY35. So that is here. This is going to be opaque, I suspect. A bit warmer in hue than the Lemon Yellow. Dilute it. It's been raining this morning, and this is just about the time where everything seems to have settled down weather-wise outside, apart from the clouds, where the clouds remain. The white fluffy clouds are just disrupting the light today. But I hope they're not disrupting the light too much that you can't see the colours properly. Talking about disruptions, Baloo is sleeping soundly. He was sleeping on the table this morning, and I was thinking, my goodness, he's just going to be all over the video again. But thankfully, he's sleeping soundly in his bed. Next we have Cadmium Yellow Medium, which is PY35. This is it. And indeed it looks like a medium yellow. Really nice. I'm not the best person to ask about cadmiums or to give my opinion about cadmiums because I do not use cadmiums. However, I do appreciate the colour, and I think these colours are really pretty. The cadmium yellow medium and the cadmium yellow light. Now this has dried. This has a green undertone, but a duller green undertone than the lemon yellow, if that makes sense. This is warmer, obviously, and nice and opaque in mass tone, as a cadmium should be. Next we have Chromium Yellow Hue Deep. This is PY65, and I believe this is a Hansa 2. Let's see. Ooh, that's nice. This is not as opaque as the previous colours. I can see some of the paper underneath, even with it as much as I have applied. Well, that's a pretty orange. Very pretty. Next we have Indian Yellow, which is PY83. See where there is that Indian Yellow. It's quite similar on the palette to the Chromium Yellow Hue Deep. I appreciate when they use the word hue in colours that are not the actual pigments. So I always feel a bit kind of how can I say this? I feel disappointed if I'm expecting a colour when I read the name to be one pigment, and then when I use it and I see the pigments that they've used, I realise that they've been using different pigments. For instance, if someone labelled their colour cobalt blue and it wasn't PB28, it was something like a phthalo and a mix of a phthalo and a white, I'd be kind of sad. But again, that's just me. Okay, let's dilute that and see that. Very close in hue there. Brighter, however, I think. We'll see when it dries, but that is brighter. Next we have our first of our earth colours, which is Earth Yellow, and it's a PY42, which is synthetic yellow oxide, I think. Let's see. That is opaque. Interesting colour. Mustardy, but a cooler mustard. Ooh, wonky circle. Wonky circle time. Okay, I think we saved it. Next we have another pearlescent colour, which I find a bit strange. I mean, the placement of them, having one over there and one over there. Usually I'm kind of used to them being like at the end of a palette, the pearlescent colours all together, but it's no matter. It doesn't really matter where they are. You can always change the position of where they are in your palette. So gold, oh, that's gold. And hopefully that is going to show up more than the silver. Let's see. Not very opaque. Quite delicate and very cool gold. Dilute that. Very understated. Okay. Next we have gold yellow ochre, PY43, another earth colour. I see that the sun's encroaching and it's going to play havoc with the colours, I'm sure. So I am going to move the table after I've finished this page, and hopefully find a spot in my studio where the sun isn't too bright and just distorts the colours, or distorts the colours and then the, you know, kind of makes the camera go all funny. Let's see. And now we've got a cloud again. Oh dear, it's one of those days. I've been debating so hard with myself if I want to bring artificial light into the videos, as in like bring one of those round lights that YouTubers use, I can't speak, to do their videos, but I really think that the colours are viewed best in natural light. But there's days like today where I go, oh, maybe I should have had a light, like I don't know what they're called, they're like a donut lights, that's what I'll be calling them, donut lights. And but yeah, maybe I should invest in one of those just for days like this, where everything lighting wise is changing. This is PY150. It's called Transparent Yellow, and it is a nickel azo yellow. Very handy for mixing with. And yeah, quite nice. Very green leaning. Okay, so I'm going to fiddle with my table a bit, find a different spot, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, I am back. Apparently my camera froze, so oh dear. I am now swatching cadmium red light, which is PR108, but I have previously swatched chromium orange hue and cadmium orange deep, these two colours. That pigment number is P062, and the cadmium orange deep is P020. Sorry about that. My camera does that sometimes, it freezes, and it's a good thing that I can see it at some point, because I glanced to see if it's still running, and I saw that it had frozen and it wasn't recording anything. So that was not good. I've also moved the table, as you might have noticed. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that the light will remain stable. It won't fluctuate as much. and it is that it's light enough for you to see the colours properly. Next we have Burnt Sienna, which is PR101 and PBK9. So this is a mix with black. Okay, let's see what the Burnt Sienna looks like. Oh boy, the sun has blessed us again. There's a huge cloud though, so it's probably going to disappear in a bit. I'm so sorry about this today. It's one of those videos where everything is just going not very well. One with the lighting, one with Baloo insisting to sit on the table. Now I'm doing a wonky circle, which isn't helping. That is a lovely burnt sienna though. Can't see much black in that. That is pretty. I have to admit, going in to swatch this, I thought, oh dear, this is going to be something with black. It's going to be so dark. It might even be a bit muddy, but it's not. It's very pretty. And I can see some nice granulation happening there, which I'm always happy to see with earth colours. And not only with earth colours. Transparent orange is next, and that is P071. And let's see what this looks like. There are so many oranges in this palette. There aren't many palettes that have this many orange colours in them, I think. This has quite a few. It's an interesting colour. Let's dilute that. It's quite dull. Let's see. I'm hoping that the sun will disappear behind the clouds soon. And there won't be this glare on the paper. That is interesting. It's a very deep, bold, rich orange, especially diluted. Okay, I'm going to pause here and wait for the sun to do its thing, and I'll be back when it's not shining onto the surface of the paper so intensely. I'm back again, and this time I kind of gave in. I added some artificial light. So I've pulled the curtain and added a daylight lamp to my right here. So hopefully that will help with the lighting. I am so sorry, I've been playing musical tables for the most part of this video so far. So now back to the swatching, and hopefully we can get through this without me having to move the table again. Okay, so deep breath, and let's swatch Beryl Ruby Red, which is PR254. Let's see what this looks like. Ooh, that looks nice. That looks like it is opaque. You can hear Sweet Pea. She's downstairs. She has become excited about something, and she likes to express herself in very loud barks and noises, as that is her way. So, I'm sorry if you can hear that. Oh, that is beautiful. Really nice ruby red there. Very bold. Very opaque and very rich. So next we have Quinacridone Rose, which is PB19. A good old PB19. Let's see what that looks like. Quite a dark PB19 in mass tone. I mean, Quinacridone Rose isn't really meant to be applied in mass tone, so it's going to look a bit blotchy, I'm afraid. Quinacridones are at their best when they're diluted. So let's dilute this one and see what it looks like. Cool, dark. Not very pink leaning, more red leaning. Okay. Perylene Maroon. Next is PR179. Let's find that there. Palette. In this light, and this is the trouble with artificial light, and that's why I prefer natural light, because I can see the subtleties between colours better. This light, that and that looks quite similar, but probably not at all similar. It's interesting that this Quinacridone Rose has kind of separated into its pigment particles here. Okay. It's on the palette, not on the paper. It's a little bit warmer than the Quinacridone Rose. Venetian Red is next, PR101. That is Venetian Red there. Okay, so not as rich as I expected it to be. Maybe I didn't put enough on my brush. Venetian Reds I expect to be quite opaque and red leaning, obviously. Red leaning browns. This I wouldn't say is very red leaning. Or yellow leaning. Oh, wonky circle. Wonky circle there. Let's dilute that. It is very pretty diluted. However, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about its hue for me personally for a Venetian red. Okay, moving on to Indian red, which is PR101 and PR206. So this is a mixture of an earth red with PR206. Very opaque. Very opaque there. Let's dilute it. Oh, this is going to take some effort to dilute. Oh, yeah, that's pretty. That is pretty. Third time trying to pronounce this. Agate brown. Am I pronouncing this correctly? Oh boy. I hope I am. It's PR101. Ooh. Very burnt sienna-ish. Ooh, I like it. It's an orange earth. That I really like. Really like that one. And I can see some granulation. Van Dyke brown. PBR7. Nice cool brown. Let's dilute it. That's a nice brown. Okay, so we've reached the end of our second row and we have 2 more rows to go. So I'll just clean everything up, go get something to drink, and I'll be back with you in a second. Talk about chaotic video. I thought, you know what, I'm going to film this. It has started raining, and so I opened the curtain again, so the lighting has changed. But have you noticed something else changing on my sketchbook? Yes, it has become furry because Baloo has decided that is where he wants to sit. I am going to try and move him, because as much as I love him, I can't do my work with him sitting on top of my sketchbook. So, Baloo. Good boy. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? Okay. We're moving. Okay, you can sit there, Baloo. Good boy. I don't mind a little bit of tail in the video, but not the whole thing, Baloo. Not the whole thing. Okay. Oh my goodness. I'm going to stop saying I'm sorry, because you know what, this is life. This is how things can happen sometimes and be so chaotic. And I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I'm all about, you know, everything being normal and truthful and honest out there. So here we go with a baloo tail. I just don't want your hairs on my sketchbook, my love. Okay? Good boy. Good boy. You just stay there. Right. Now, with the background noise, which is going to be rain, which I hope is ambient and it isn't too loud, we are going to proceed with swatching quinacridone maroon, which is PV42, and I will try and raise my voice so that you can hear me over this rain. Okay. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe his tail being right near, right near the sketchbook isn't a good idea, because he might just flap it at some point and colours will go everywhere. That is pretty. My circle, however, is not. That's a really pretty pink. Oh my goodness. Okay, I went a bit wide with that circle. I'm sorry. Quinacridone magenta is next. Which is PR122. Very nice, very vibrant. You're getting a little bit of everything in this video today. You're getting sun, you're getting rain, you're getting a baloo-less video, and then a baloo video. He is a little bit scared of rain and thunder, and he likes to come near me when he's like this. So I totally understand where he's coming from, but sitting on the sketchbook wasn't really helpful. Okay, PV19 is next, and it is quinacridone violet. So we already swatched a PV19. Let's see what this PV19 looks like. The other PV19, it didn't look like it had been milled properly. It was very, very grainy. I'm curious to see this one. Okay, Baloo. Okay, Baloo. No, you're not. No, Baloo. Yeah. I'm just, no, Baloo. Please, Baloo. 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 Okay. Okay. Baloo, I am going to have to remove you from the table, because I ain't going to get a video done with you on the table. I love you very much, but it's just not going to happen, my love. I know you're scared of it. I know. I know. Really terrified of rain and thunder. Okay. My boy is. Oh dear. My love, you're going to need to come down, okay? No, you are not. No, no. Not onto the colours. Please, please, please. Come on. Come on, my love. I'll just gently pick you up. There we go. Come on, darling. Oh, good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Oh, There we go. Oh, there we go. There we go. I'm going to put you in your bed. Good boy. Good boy. And the sun's come back. Okay. I'm not going to move the table again. It is what it is. This has to be the most chaotic video I've ever done. And for those who are watching, I promise you all my videos are not like this. For those who are watching first time, it is usually not this chaotic. There is some chaos, possibly in a few videos, but not this much. Okay, Cobalt Turquoise is next, which is PB28, which I'm very happy to see. An actual PB28 and not a hue. Oh, that's nice. It's very nice and vibrant. It looks like it's going to granulate. Oh boy, that's thunder. Hope Baloo doesn't get too spooked. Okay, that is lovely actually. That is very, very pretty. That reminds me of one of the Roman Schmall cobalts, I think. Is it Roman Schmall? I'm not sure. I think so. I think it's a Roman Schmall cobalt turquoise that reminds me of. I'll have to look in my watercolor catalogue later and compare. Next we have translucent turquoise, which is PB16. This is a phthalo. Very vibrant, as expected for a phthalo. Very nice hue. It's very pretty hue. Cobalt Blue is next, again PB28, which I love to see again. Like me, a genuine cobalt. I am fond of cobalts, to be fair. I think they have very beautiful hues and very lovely textures. That is lovely. That is almost red leaning. See. That is, yeah. Dilute that. I love that. That cobalt is gorgeous. Oh, I have to say both cobalts are really pretty. I love those two. Oh, and I forgot to say the PB19, the quinacridone violet, didn't have the like the grittiness the other PB19 had. So I think there might have been like a, it just didn't get milled properly, I think, the other PB19. And this is only for this box. I'm not saying that every single box, that's how the PB19 is going to be. It's just that it just happened to be in this box, in this palette. Next we have Azure Hue, which is a mixture of PW4 and PB15 column 3. Which I think is that. Hopefully no more disasters today. So we can press on with a calmer ending to this video. I say ending, but we've got like so many colours to swatch yet. But autumn is like this. It's very unpredictable weather. We have rain, we have sun, and I'm all for it. I love it. But when you're swatching, it does become a little bit of a problem. Likewise, especially when you're filming. Berlin Blue is next, which is a Prussian blue. It is PB27. Ooh, I went a bit wide with that one. Very nice. Next we have French blue, which is PB29, ultramarine blue. Let's see. That looks nice. By the end of this, I think I'm going to need to close the, the curtain again. By the end of this page. For everyone or anyone that has stuck through me through this, thank you so much. Because this must not have been an easy watch. As it's been so chaotic. There we go. Nice granulation happening there. Phthalo blue is next. PB15 column 3. Ooh, very intense. With this palette so far, I suspect you would produce very intense and vibrant mixes, what with the vibrant yellows and the blues. Brilliant Blue Violet. Now this I'm interested in swatching, particularly because it is a mixture of PB29, PB23, so it's a dioxazine violet and an ultramarine blue. And I think that would be really pretty as a mix. I don't remember seeing any other brand doing this. Please correct me in the comments if there is another brand that mixes a dioxazine with a ultramarine blue. There must be. I mean, it's common sense that this would make a nice mix. Oh, that is lovely. Oh yes, that is beautiful. That is lovely. And I'm hoping that it will have the granulation of the PB29. Lovely. Not seeing too much granulation so far. Okay, but that in mass tone, that is gorgeous. And it is very pretty, also diluted. Getting some, some fair granulation from the French blue, the ultramarine blue. Not as much granulation from the cobalt blues, which is a bit, I was hoping that there would be a bit more granulation. The hues are very pretty hues. Dioxazine violet is next. Oh yeah, I just plopped my brush in the wrong half pan there. Nice. This is more violety than the previous one, more red leaning. Violety. Yeah, I'm inventing new terms here. And as you can see, it's much more red leaning. You can see it especially when it is diluted. Okay, so that is our third page, and we have one page left. Now I am going to, I think I'm going to close the curtain again. Because, yeah, so the light is going to shift again, and yeah, it is what it is. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry. And I'll see you in a bit when everything's dried and I've just changed my water again and cleaned my palette again. And I'll be back for the last page. And after that, I'm going to tell you what I think about the palette. See you in a bit. I am back with artificial light again. And the curtain is drawn. And we are going to swatch the final row of watercolours from this palette, hopefully with no more interesting events happening. So our first colour is Indian Throne PB60. Let's swatch this. Okay, mass tone, I would anticipate it to be a bit darker. I'm going to put some more colour. Very pretty colour. But Indian Thrones tend to be almost black in mass tones, so maybe I added a bit too much water there. Let's dilute that. Really lovely colour to mix with, Indian Throne. Produces some beautiful greens, but it does lose a bit of its saturation when it dries. So there is that to consider. We'll see with this what happens. It's a bit like perylines, but perylines are so gorgeous when they're wet, but they kind of desaturate when they're dry. Indigo next, which is a mixture of PB15 column 1 and PB66. Ooh, that's nice. That is a nice, cool, dark blue. It looks cool in mass tone. See when it's diluted. If it's warmer. I think the light is flickering as well. It's just one of those days. Okay, May Green is next, which is PY151 and PG7. It's going to be bright. It's going to be a bright green. I had this vision of video today where I was just going to sit very, quietly and swatch all the colours, make this a really relaxing video, and it just, everything just didn't go to plan. That is very bright, but it would be with PG7 in that PY151. Okay, Sap Green is next, and this is just PG7, which is interesting because Sap Greens usually are convenience greens and consist of more than one pigment. Let's see what this looks like. PG7? That looks... Have I got that right? Maybe I didn't write that correctly. That looks more like a PG36. Okay. Maybe I got my phalos mixed up there, possibly. 1 second and I'll look. All is explained. I did make a mistake there because that colour just threw me. That is a mixture. The Sap Green is indeed a mixture. It is PY153 in PG7. I was thinking to myself, that can't be PG7 by itself. Yeah, my apologies there. I'll have to add that later, as I actually omitted pigment there. And now that I know there's a yellow in there, it makes sense. I thought it was quite unorthodox to have a Sap Green that was just PG7. So yeah, everything makes sense now. So next we have Oriental Green, which is a mixture of PO62 and PG36. That crunching you can hear is Baloo having his afternoonsies. Getting all the sound effects today. I was able to avoid the vacuum cleaner, but okay, and let's dilute that. Okay, that just looks like a phthalo to me. The phthalo is quite strong in that. It's interesting that it's a PG36. However, yeah, I am. Okay, so yes. Again, I made a mistake there. That is PG7 by itself. I was going to say that doesn't look Okay, so these two I have actually written wrong on my layout. Yeah, because it's that kind of day. So this is just PG7. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the Oriental green is just PG7. I was thinking that doesn't make sense. It's got PG36 in it and it's this cool. Right. That is okay. So these two I have written incorrectly. I'm just looking at the other ones around it and seeing if I've written those correctly. No, all the others are correct. These two I have written incorrectly. So this is PG7 and this is PG7 and PY153. Okay, moving on. Let's see the next one. Have I written that correctly? Yes, that is PO62 and PG36, and that is olive green. Very earthy. Okay. Next we have olive green dark, which is PO62 and PG7. It's an interesting green. Cobalt turquoise dark is next. It's PG36. Very desaturated forest, or rather pine green, should I say. This hopefully will have some granulation. Let's just dilute that. Okay. Now we have brown umber, and this is interesting because it's got a blue in it. It is PB15 column 1, PBK7 and PBK9. I don't ever recall a brown umber having a blue in it. And I am double checking to see that I've got that correct. It is like that. It's written like that on the leaflet, so yeah. It's an interesting mix for a brown umber. Looks nice. I cannot see a blue undertone. It's got a cool undertone. Be interesting to see diluted. Okay, cannot see any blue, but there might only just be a tiny amount in there. Next we have Payne's Grey Bluish, which is PBK9, PB29 and PB23. Ooh, so it's got the mix that we've seen before with the PBK, the PB29 and the PB23, and just added black to that. Let's see if that is just like a very dark violet, or if they've adjusted. Oh no, this is more blue leaning rather than violet leaning. So they've adjusted the quantity of dioxazine in this. I mean, I can see a little bit of a violet undertone there. Oh, I like it though. And funnily enough, I like it with these three colours together. I really like the cobalt turquoise dark, the brown umber with the blue in it, and the Payne's grey bluish. I really like. Okay, so we've got blacks left. We have two blacks. We have the PBK 9, which is ivory black. Yeah, my light is also on the blink. Yep, that tracks. So now it's just doing a flicker here and there. Hope that is not giving you a headache. And lamp black is the final colour for this swatching adventure today. That is PBK 7. Well, that is separating. That has some separation of blue and violet in it, which I love. Okay, so those are all the colours in this huge palette. And I'm going to let everything dry on the final page, and I'll be back, hopefully. There isn't an earthquake or anything. I'll be back and I will talk about the palette as a whole. Be right back. I'm back and the colours have dried and the sun is literally setting. So I have been filming all day with all the hiccups that have been happening. Yeah, this was quite a long video, but I really enjoyed it despite all the ups and downs. And yeah, let's focus on the colours because that's what we're here for. Now, these are the first two pages I swatched, and there are some really lovely colours here. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to say which colours are my favourites and which are my least favourites. So my favourite from the first page is the Naples yellow, which is quite nice, and it's a little bit duller than what I would be used to, but I think it's quite pretty. I like the Indian yellow, the PY83, nice and vibrant there. I love also the gold yellow ochre, which has granulated very nicely. Has such a lovely texture and such an interesting colour, especially for mixes. I would love to see how this mixes. And the PY150, because the nickel azo yellow is so useful for mixing colours. I think you can mix some really pretty greens and oranges with it. So yeah, that would be one of my my favourites. I mean, there's no surprise that my least favourites are going to be the pearlescents, because I'm not a pearlescent girl. I don't do pearlescent colours in my work. But yeah, I mean, yes, I think that, yeah, enough said about that. Let's move on to the second page, which is the oranges and the reds and some earth colours. My favourites from this side of the palette are, I really like the transparent orange, the PO71, especially diluted. I find it a very interesting colour. And the Paul Ruby Red, really nice Paul, nice vibrant Paul. I like the Van Dyke Brown and the Indian Red. Now, colours that I'm not quite taken with, I think would have to be the quinacridone Rose, because it was so gritty. It didn't really kind of dilute properly, but I think that might have been a little bit of an error in the milling of the colour, and it's much duller than I would expect a quinacridone Rose. And the Venetian Red I'm not quite taken with. I'm just not very, I find it a bit patchy when it's in mass tone, and a bit lackluster. I don't want to be too harsh with it. I mean, it's just not my idea of a Venetian Red. A Venetian Red to me would be much more red leaning and much richer, I think. Okay, so moving on to the next page. This page has some really pretty colours in it, and I'm going to start with the colours that I really like. I like the cobalt turquoise and the cobalt blue. I am biased because I like cobalts. However, I am going to say that these barely granulated, and I hoped for a little bit more granulation in the cobalts, but the hues are beautiful. This is such a lyrical blue. It's beautiful, beautiful blue. I love that. I like the brilliant blue violet, which is the mixture of PB29 and PB23. It's quite pretty. I mean, the dioxazine violet, the quinacridone maroon, the PB42 is quite pretty. I mean, there aren't really colours here that I can say that I don't like. I mean, there are colours that I wouldn't use a lot because, for instance, this azure hue has white in it. It's PW4 and PB15, column 3. I usually stay away from colours that have white in them, especially when I'm mixing, because then they become a bit muddy. And yeah, and I mean, the phthalos, they're fine. Everything's fine. All the colours here are fine. So yeah, so that's probably the colour that I wouldn't use, the azure hue. This is our final page with my errors, because I actually miswrote here and I put like this. This is PG7. This is not PO62 and PG36. So this is just a standard phthalo blue shade, and the sap green is PG7 mixed with a yellow. So very vibrant sap green there. I'll start with what I really like from this page. I love these three. And this is so strange because I saw this with blue in it. I thought, okay, I don't know how I'm going to feel about a brown amber having blue in it, but I do like the hue. I really do. And I think it was helped by having these on its flank. So the cobalt turquoise dark I really like. It has a nice granulation. It is a little bit more desaturated than I expected it to be, but I think it's fine. And the Payne's Grey Bluish, which is a mixture of 3, there is colour separation. Unfortunately, when it dried, there was no granulation again. It's a very flat colour, but there is indication of a blue-violet here around the edges. The indent throne is really pretty. I expected it to be darker in mass tone because that's what I'm used to, but it is very pretty. The colours that my least favourites on this palette would be, I think these. I mean, these 3 greens, way too vibrant for me personally. There's nothing wrong with the colours, it's just me. This is a me issue here. Way too vibrant for me. This mix is quite pretty, the olive green and the olive green dark. Much more greens that I can get behind with, but those are convenience greens. For instance, the oriental green, just strike that is not right there, which is a phthalo, is going to be what it is. It's a phthalo, a very good colour for mixing. I'm just talking about the colours as they are here. Quite staining, I've said this before, that's why I tend to stay away from phthalos, generally speaking, because I work very slowly with watercolour, and the phthalos just stain too fast for me to handle on the paper. Again, a me issue, not an issue with the colour. The indigo's okay. It's a very lovely grey here. I like that grey. It's a very pretty grey. So those are the colours from the palette that was sent to me by Paul Rubens. It's the 5th generation palette of their artist palettes. 48 colours. It's the Youlan range, and I'll add the links below so that you can see for yourself, check the colours out for yourselves if you wish to, or if you wish to purchase them. I'm hoping that by the time I air this, I will have a discount code also for you. We'll see. So my video froze again. So I am not going to finish my awkward bit, but what I am going to say is my little bit about hope, because that is very important to me. Please, please, please do not let go of hope. Keep holding on to it no matter what. No matter what life throws at you, hold on to it, and you are not alone. Me, I'm holding on to it, and I'm sure lots of other people are. We're all together in this. Hold on to hope, and better days will come. I love you guys. Keep safe, keep creative, and I'll see you hopefully with a smoother video experience next week. Bye bye for now. Bye.